Hey Grander School, this is Uboat for Grander School, and I just opened 2 tables of 10 PLO Zoom on PokerStars. And right away on table number 2, we're going to just check back and call any weak bets, because 6-7 Jack, that definitely hit the buttons range. And on table number 1, that's the lower end of our opening range for early position. Usually I would normally fold that hand, that 6-9 rundown at EP. But at this stake at 10 PLO, there's a lot of bad players. So what we're gonna is we're gonna call any bets, call any 3 bets pre-flop, like he did on on the button. And we hit a decent flop, but we're gonna check back and we're gonna preserve our equity on this flop. And now we're gonna barrel. We're gonna bet full pot on the turn because he did show weakness by checking back, and we're gonna take advantage of it. And we have a decent turn. And there's so many cards that can improve our hand on table number 1. In table number 2, we're going to fold that, although it looks really pretty, but we do have a gap with Jack and an 8. We're going to fold that from small blind. And likewise for table number 1, 2, we're going to fold that too, because we do have a gap on the top and we're at early position. If we were at late position, like especially at the bottom, we'd definitely open that up 3x. And table number 2, that's an easy fold, no suited cards on that one, although it was a really low down. And on here, table number 1, we have a very speculative hand with our queens. And table number 2 is actually quite good, which will hit the flop very hard, and we got a chance to hit, like the flush draw, the top set, possibly, and maybe a decent straight. And we took that down on table number 1. And table number 1, that's easy fold from the small blind. Remember, any mediocre card, we're going to fold that. And on this one, table number 2, if those 2 players check back, I'm in position. I'm going to bet full pot if those players check. And we're going to bet full pot on that one. Table number 1, I'll only call that if that was raised from the small blind, but not against the early position. That's an easy fold for me. Sometimes if I'm heads up, if I know I'm going to be heads up, I might play that, but out of position, I don't want to play that against the early position versus his range. Yeah, definitely easy fold on table number 1. Now we're going to check back on table number 2, and we're going to call any bet here because he could be a bit like, especially a weak bet like that, we're going to just call. We're not going to raise because if he has a jack of queen or king of diamonds, if he has a second, third nut flush, what are you going to do? And he had really crappy flush. So, that's why you got to call those hands, especially when bets are so weak. And it was his mistake for betting on that. He just lost more money there. Table number 1, we're going to still check back. Although we have top 2 pair, there's a mate straight out there. And some could have the nut flush, so we're not going to bet into that, especially when we're, that's 5 players multi-way. Yeah, we're not betting that hand on table number 1. Sorry, yeah, I realize I'm not showing all my screen on these 2 tables. And table number 2, that's the easy fold. Table number 1, we got decent aces. We're going to definitely bet pot. And if you notice with these lower stakes, I'm going to be when I raise from early position or middle position, I'm going to raise it full pot. Because remember, what we want them to really pay for calling with really junky hands. And on this one, it's a tough one on table number 1, but no. Yeah, you know what? Let's check back. If we had like suited ace of spades, yeah, I'd probably make a bet on that one, but not this one. It's just too tricky, especially when we're out of position. We have another aces. We'll definitely call that. And we're going to be out of position, so let's call that bet on table number 2. And table number 1 is an easy fold, especially when the big blind calls the cutoffs bet. I know it. We can call one more. Let's call one more. Let's see what happens. And I think it's a mistake, but like it is, yeah. And table number 1, we're gonna give up that hand. We'll check back on table number 2. And on the turn, if everyone still checks back, I mean, I'm really tempted to barrel that one. Yeah, I'm gonna be barreling this one for sure. Not barrel, sorry. I'm gonna bet out on that full pot. And if you notice, I'm betting nothing. You know, I'm gonna be when I bet, I'm gonna be making a full pot size bet on these. Okay, because we're betting for value on this one. Except for the river. River's won a few times. I might not. I think we have the better hand. The only thing that's gonna beat us is quads, and I really doubt he has quads. I never worry about quads. That's something I never think about when I play Power Limit Omaha. I just don't think about my opponent having quads. Like, how can you put... Well, sometimes you can, but most of the time you're not going to be able to put them on quads. Yeah, so, well, how do I gauge playing PLO? Like, you know, sometimes I'll be making bet and everyone will be making folding to my bet. And on those days, I'm going to just bet like crazy. But I'm not going to bet with any air hands. I'll always bet with, no, I'll always have something, maybe top pair with some backdoor straight draw or flush draw. Or I might have maybe a combo draw with a backdoor flush draw. Table number 2 is actually quite good. Queens with really well connected sidecars. I prefer the hands I have on table number 2 compared to table number 1. And I'm going to definitely call this bet for sure against the middle position. Yeah, and we're gonna remember the reason why I'm leading out is I don't like to check raise the flop. It gets too expensive pot limit Omaha. Instead of doing that, it's better to just lead out on the flop if you think it didn't hit the range, because he was opening from the middle position, and that flop definitely did not hit his hand. Excuse me. And see, table number 1, we don't want to fast fold those hands, because if it's folded to us, we can always raise 3x against the big blind. Well, on this one, it's an easy fold, but if it was folded to us on the small blind, I'm always raising my suited aces, especially when if I think I have a good chance of hitting a flop board if I can take it down. And remember, these players at 10 PLO, they're fairly standard. They're basically fit or fold, or very really tight passive or loose passive, and you'll rarely get one of those loose aggressive players. I mean, you may get those aggressive monkeys, which you always want to play against, but you're rarely against true lags. And that's 3-bet for sure. We'll 3-bet him. Let's see how he's. Okay, he folds to 3-bet, so that was pretty good. And when they 3-bet, I mean, I guess it could be for value, but mostly it's just to take the pot down. Okay, easy fold on table number 1. Remember, any speculative hands when we're out of position, we want to fold those. And table number 2, that's almost junky queens. We're going to fold that. Even if you think you are in position against the big blind, you got to fold those kind of hands, because you know what? So many bad players in pot limit Omaha, they call too many 3-bets, and that's one of the huge leaks. At these stakes, and by these stakes, I'm talking about 2 PLO all the way up to 25 PLO, even 50 PLO. I just see so many people, you know, calling with the wrong hands, whether they're in position or out of position. When you're in position, you do have a little more greater margin of error. You're allowed to you could call a little bit more 3-bets. But when you're out of position, you got to stick with your strong starting hands. And we got an awesome hand on table number 2. That's the hand that I would probably get one of the few times I would probably get my stacks in pre-flop. We only 150 big blinds against the guy at the cutoff. Yeah, I'd go all in. If he made a 3-bet, I'd 4-bet and try to get it in. And on this one, we're going to definitely bet out here, because like such a dry flop. And what is he going to do? I mean, even if he has kings, we have him. Table number 2 is us junky kings. But we'll raise 3x and we took it down. Definitely we're going to bet again. And, we want to... I think we're still well ahead, and we got the nut flush draw on this turn. We should be able to take this turn down. And he's playing... Oh, yeah, we got this one. And we want to bet, nothing less than 75%. Yeah, maybe $5. And knowing these guys, they probably call. And getting back to three bets, the only whoa, junky hands there. Only time when you can start opening up your calling range for three bets is when you're maybe deep stack, like maybe 300 BB. And table number one, we're going to definitely call that. It's not a hand that we want to three bet. And then, okay, when he three bets, we got to fold because he probably has aces. And us having aces does us no good even if we're in position. So see, this is a good case where we should fold to three bets. And again, getting back to calling three, in table number two is a really good hand. We're going to raise that. And if you three bets, we're going to call that. Yeah, and getting back to three bets, oh geez, these tables are so fast today. We have double suited aces. We're definitely going to call any bets from the early position, or we're going to raise full pot if it's folded to us. So if you're 300 big blinds deep plus, you have a lot more room to call three bets. So that's the only time I would start calling three bets, maybe out of position. But remember, even if I do call three bet, okay, I'm gonna, yeah, let's call that. We got top pair and open the straight drop, but now we're gonna have to fold. Table number two, we're gonna bet full pot. Even if anyone bets, we're gonna re-raise in full pot. We don't want anyone to, draw cheap if they have any two diamonds in their hands. Wow, and you know what? Sometimes, these Zoom tables can be very fast, and I think we're going to be averaging maybe 400 to 500 hands an hour. Or sometimes it can be really slow where you only see maybe 300 hands an hour playing two tables PLO. I mean, I was thinking about opening three tables, but it might be too fast to follow. And I remember when I first started watching these videos, oh geez, 4 or 5, we got to open-ended straight up. We're gonna check back. No point betting this. Yeah, and I remember when I first started watching these videos, I really had difficult time following the hands that was played by the instructors. And I was thinking about that, and whenever I'm making videos, I keep in mind like who the viewers are, and most of the viewers are people who are new, and that's that king 4-8. We had to fold because those are junky kings. I mean, the only thing that we're gonna hit is one a hit. Well, is if we hit another king on the flop to hit top set. But even if he hit top set, the other guy could be on like a combo draw or some flush draw and another straight draw. And although these players at these limits probably don't have any idea what a combo draw is, so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, we're going to check back on table number one. Yeah, let's see what he does. I have a second nut flush, and I'm just leading out just to take the pot down against these short stackers. And let's see what he does. If he bets, I'm going to fold. Yeah, we're going to check back. No point barreling that. Now we got two pairs. I'm going to bet full pot. And he folds. Yeah, and like, as you can see, whenever we make a bet, if people start making folds, you kind of get, it's kind of like momentum. You want to go with the momentum. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start betting a lot of my hands on the flop just to take the flop down. And on this one, on table number two, he's a short stacker. Yeah, let's bet pot size bet. If he re-raises, we're going to fold because he is a short stacker, and I don't think we have anything, and we take it down, see? And remember, if you have momentum, just go with it. I mean, I see a lot of players, I see recently I was watching a player playing two tables of 5 PLO, and he was getting nice cards, and he was hitting the flop, and he was not betting because he was just hesitating because he wasn't going with the momentum. And that's something you should be aware of. Because on some days, like I gotta admit, no matter what I bet or no matter what hand that I have, no one's gonna fold to my bet. And on those days, I'll probably, check back quite a lot more often than I normally would. And on days like today, I mean, I don't know how many minutes are we into this already? Maybe 15 minutes. Whoa, that's a wet flop. We're technically out of position for the big blind who has us covered. We're going to check back. It's just too wet to bet into that. If we had, say, ace, suited ace to the spades, yeah, we would definitely bet, but not on a wet board like this, and we really don't have any, no, we don't have any backdoor flush draw. Table number one's not too bad. Suited aces and queens. Although 4 is a dangler, 4 just sucks on this hand. You have to raise that, excuse me. Oh yeah, and we're gonna definitely bet on this flop. And remember, I'm happy to take it down. Like, remember, don't worry about a betting half size. Okay, let us see. We'll call, and we're gonna fold now. That was a little bit spewy, on my part, but he checks back, so I don't know. I think he's got a boat, and maybe he was expecting me to bet. Yeah, we're dead. We'll fold. So on that one, you know what? I mean, it would have been better to fold the flop, but for me, like, geez, at these stakes, I try to hit something on the turn. If I hit it big on the turn, I like to kind of get my stack in. And so I'll try to limit that play right now. And we're going to easy fold on table number 2. It's too dry. I think he had maybe king XX, even though I had kings. It's a good chance that he has king XX. Or maybe middle set 2. Really junky hands on both tables. Not even worth raising when folded to. We fold those, especially at the small blind. We're getting a lot of ace-ace. I mean, this ace on table number 2 is actually not bad. It's suited ace, and we got nice side cards. We're going to definitely raise 3x. And table number 1 is a good example of junky aces. We want to still raise it, but we're going to give that up if you don't hit it on the flop. And we don't want to get it in pre-flop. We never want to get it in pre-flop with junky aces. See, there's nothing suited, there's nothing connected. But heads up on the flop, like that, we're going to bet in. Try to take it down. If he checks back, I don't think it really changed anything. I'm going to bet again. See how he reacts. If he has some boat, he's going to re-raise me on the turn. And maybe, it's a tough one. Maybe we'll see what he does. $1, now we'll fold. He's got something. We're not even going, even if you have a good price, we're not going to call that. Probably has some 3rd or 4th nut flush, made flush in the river. Table number 2, it looks pretty, but it's a junky hand. That's nothing. Table number 1's actually quite junky, but if a small blind raises, we'll definitely call that. I mean, we have a chance to hit a straight draw and a flush draw, and it's a dry flop, and let's see what he does. If he leads out, we'll fold, yeah. Maybe not. Let's re-raise him. I really don't think he has that. That's just too dry. And it's good opportunity to raise the flop, and we took it down. We don't want to do that too often. Like, I prefer to lead out on the flop than to re-raise the flop. Okay, we're gonna. Now let's check back. The only reason was it hits this range, and okay. We gotta re-raise this because that's such a weak bet. I think he's got maybe queen of hearts or something, maybe king. Yeah, let's re-raise that. Nah, fold it. Man, that was like back and forth. I think it's just too strong. Most players at these stakes, when they have a monochrome board, if they don't have it, they check back, and if they do have it, they always bet something, even if it's not the nutted flush hand. And you know what? Excuse me, I gotta step out for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and junky hand on table number 1, junky hand on table number 2 also. Weird queens. I usually like to fold them. Yeah, if someone raises that, I think I'll fold that. I mean, what are we going to hit? Another queen? It looks nice. It looks pretty. Oh, jeez. I also don't know what to do at these. Yeah, we'll raise. Let's see what happens. Maybe we can take the pre-flop down. It's hard. That's one of those few hands where I really don't know what to do pre-flop. We're going to check back. Definitely hit his range. I mean, he's a short stacker opening from the big blind. I mean, this hits his range, but he did flop. So, and if he checks, yeah. Whoa. Wow. I thought he would have that. Oh, interesting. What did he have? 5, 6, 7. Oh. This is going. What did he have? A gutter? Wow, whatever. Let's play our hand. Junkie kings. I fold. You know what? There was no side cards on that. Although it was suited kings, there was no side cards, so I prefer to fold those kings. Remember, kings, opening kings from early position, especially when the side cards are not very well connected, it's just trash. So start folding it. I mean, what are you trying to hit? I mean, the only hand that's going to improve you is hitting a king on the flop. But say you get like some ace, king, jack suited to one of the cards. I mean, you're just dead in the water on the turn. Pretty chunky hands right now. We're not getting any aces like we did before I paused. Okay, table number 2 is not too bad. Table number 1's junky queens. I'd rather fold that. Yeah, and we're going to call. We're not going to re-raise any of those kind of hands. Only the type of hands I like to. Okay, I'm going to call this one. It's not. That's a weak bet. We'll call him. Try to improve. 120. Oh, that's still weak. I'm going to call that. Let's see what he has. Okay, we're gonna. Yeah. What you want is he barreled twice and you check back on the river. I mean, like, he just didn't have anything, and we want to. So it's basically bluffing. I made a pot size bet, and he was risking most of his stacks. So, scare him off there. We have decent hands on. Well, not decent hand. It's not a bad hand on table number 2, but we don't even get to play it. Wow, we're getting a lot of aces. And remember, although it's nice to get aces, it's not the nuts here. I mean, I'd rather have something like double suited Jack 10, 9, 8 all day over any aces. Because Jack 10, 9, 8, you got so many chances to hit the flop really hard, like hitting 2 pairs or flush draw and straight draw. Not bad hand on table number 1. We're going to bet pot size bet. Remember, from early position, middle position, when we open, we want to open full. I mean, with a pot size bet. Oh yeah, we had a decent hand here. Not too bad. Oh yeah, we got to open full pot on this one. Okay. Call. Yeah, I gotta call this one. I'm gonna call this. Nah. Yeah. So 3. Yeah, but let's call. Alright, we got the nuts and we're getting our stacks in. Well, we're getting his stacks in anyways. Yeah, we'll call. And we got it. That was close. Yeah, we had it. What did he have? He just had a set of jacks on the flop. He didn't really hit the boat till I hit the boat, so we had him all the way. Yeah, see, that's the play. Remember, even when you have top set on a whiteboard like that, why would you want to try to get your stacks in, right? Just doesn't make sense sometimes. But it's great for us because these players are so bad they just don't think through the hands very well. I mean, I gotta admit, sometimes it's Parliament Omaha. There's so many different combinations that it'll put me in a tough spot. We got a gutter here. I'm gonna lead out. Remember, I prefer to lead out than raising the pot size. I mean, bet made on the flop. And this is multi-way. I'm gonna fold, easy fold there on that hand. Table number 1's easy fold. Gee, what was I just talking about right now? I just forgot my train of thought. I mean, the hand just distracted me. Yeah, we're playing pot limit Omaha, and there's so many different combos. And even sometimes, I might get stuck, and I'm quickly trying to think about, whether I'm head or not. And I remember in the beginning, I used to be really off, but now, practicing, playing with pro poker tools, I think most of the time I'm within like 5%. I mean, that 5% is a lot something, especially when you're flipping. But you know, on difficult spot, I think my math is pretty good on PLO now that I'm within 5%. And I'm in a very tough spot. Table number one, you know, everyone thinks it's a really pretty hand. It's just marginal aces. You know, we always have to raise. I mean, cut off. I mean, like you're not gonna fold those aces because you also have, you know, a chance to hit top set or nut flush. Better to make the mate flush. And as you can tell, this month of October and November, I won't be able to make too many videos. I'm back in school. So with my business and also being in school full time and also being married and having a 5-year-old son consumes a lot of time and not as much time I want to play poker. I mean, not enough time to play poker. I'm not going to call any bet with this hand. It's decent queens. We have a chance to hit the flop part, and we do. We hit top set, but remember, we're going to bet a pot-size bet, and we're going to re-raise full pot. And if he re-raised full pot again, I would probably be inclined to fold because he has a nut flush draw, and I hate getting it in with just plain sets and with nothing else. Because I always lose on those hands. I used to do that quite a bit, like I would have top set, and there would be a flush draw on the flop, and I raise full pot, and the other guys repots me, and I really had a big leak of calling those, and I don't know why, I just kept losing those one after the other, and after reviewing a lot of my hand histories, I said, okay, no more calling repotted hands, especially when I have top set versus those flush draws, because I just keep losing hand after hand. And I'm still ahead, but usually most of the times, you know, when those guys repots it, they have like a flush draw and some kind of backdoor straight draw, and I have nothing else. So remember, even if you have top set, you need some backup with those backdoor draws, like backdoor straight draws, especially backdoor flush draws are so important. It adds, like, I think a backdoor flush draw adds about 4.55% to equity to your hand. Okay, we're going to check back there. You know, table number one, that's the type of hand I don't mind raising from small blind if I'm folded to versus the big blind. We did have a chance of hitting, like, you know, top two pair, straight draw, and we're going to fold though. But because remember, we're out of position against these players. But if we had a chance of playing heads up against big blind, yeah, I'd definitely raise that hand from the small blind. And remember, if you are playing pot limit Omaha consistently, check over your stats and see how you play at each position. Like, you know, make sure that you're playing most of your hands on the button or at the cutoff, and playing very small amount of hands from the big blind, small blind, and early position, middle position. Because, okay, we got suited double suited aces, a very powerful hand. Remember, we got to hit those flush draws here. Okay, just because we have top pair of aces doesn't mean we have the nuts. Okay, it's pot limit Omaha, and on a flop like that, I just don't like that flop. It just hits the big blind hands so well. But we gotta bet this if we do have top pair, but not too much. If he re-raises, I'm gonna fold. That's one thing that sucks about having aces. Like, you know, in the beginning when you start playing pot limit, you think aces is the nuts because that's the thought that's been carried over from no limit. But you know, remember, it's not the nuts. And you see a lot of players who are really solid in no limit lose a ton of money in pot limit Omaha. You see, and I still see that a lot at the higher stakes, like at 50 and 100 PLO. And I managed to play a few sessions at 200 PLO, and you know, it's not too bad. I mean, it's more about reads, more about reads than anything else at those limits. Yeah, see, fold those queens if they, you know, if you don't like it. There's nothing wrong with folding those queens. I'd rather have solid rundowns. Whoa, we got some weird hand on table number one. It's okay. I prefer, it would be a lot more nutty. Strength would be a lot higher if we had suited aces. But we got to 3-bet this hand and try to take it down pre-flop. And we still have top set. We're gonna bet full pot on this flop. Remember, don't bet weak with those top set. I mean, if you bet weak, they're gonna call re-raise you and put you in a really tough spot. Yeah, take it down. And that's what we want to do. Remember, this is not no limit. We're not trying to get those bad players to call. I mean, it's nice for bad players to call, but we want them to fold because remember, the nuts change from street to street so much in pot limit Omaha. I mean, it's rare that we're going to be ahead more than 75% on the flop. Unless we have some incredible combo draw, like a 20 combo draw with a flush draw. We'll call that. Yeah, and it's nice to play. Okay, that's such a dry flop. But you know we're multi-way. If they check back, I'm so tempted to bet pot size bet. Let's see what the deep stack does. We raise. Yeah, we're gonna fold that. That was junky on the cutoff. Like if those side cards on the previous hand, table number 2 was higher, I'd probably open 3x at the cutoff. Okay, they all check back. Yeah, we'll check back. It's just, I mean, if it was heads up or like just 3-way, I'll bet that in position. But 4 people, I hesitate to bet there. On this one, someone could have a flush draw. We do have a straight draw. We want to preserve our equity there, but we have nothing there. We just have top pair. I'm gonna give that up to any bet. Yeah, that's something. 2-5. Maybe not. Maybe ace king. And we're gonna fold this on table number 2. Fold, easy fold on table number 2 again. 10-6, deuce 7. I'm gonna fold that. 5 deuce 7 3, junky hand. Deuce 3, deuce 9, junky hand. See, a lot of junky hands. Don't play those. 5 king jack jack, junky hand. Fold. Table number 2, we'll only open that if you're folded to. Because we do have suited ace. Fold. We had a dangler there, although we had suited queen. If maybe that dangler on the suited to the queen was maybe like a jack, yeah, maybe we may call. But small blind, you're playing out of position. It's so difficult to play out of position when you're playing pot limit Omaha. I try to avoid those spots. Unless I know that we have a very weak player, that's the only time I would open with those kind of junky hands, especially if I'm out of position. But against most players, I just try to avoid playing those hands out of position. Because remember, pot limit Omaha, position is everything. Because when they show weakness, that's when you want to take the opportunity to take the pot down. Remember, it's not to call, get the bad players to call, or get the players with the good hands to fold. We just want to take the pot down. Well, we're happy with that in pot limit Omaha. And usually most of the time on the flop, the flop gets pretty big, pretty fast, especially if you get to the turn. And you want to take those down quickly. See that queen king 5-4? I want to take that down. If that was queen queen, say 9-10, I would be more in favor of calling any bets with that. Table number 1, that's easy fold. He 3-bet. I have aces. I'm out of there. In time when someone 3-bets, they have aces, get out of there because they usually have aces. But these players say sometimes 3-bet with kings, which is really not good. You know what? Let's call this. No. Yeah, we gotta call that because we have junky aces. Now we're gonna get it in. Yeah, we'll get it against short stack. I think we have him. Yep. Sorry. I mean, he did have a better flush. I bet if he plugged the numbers in, I think he could have been ahead on. I think he would have been ahead on the flop. Very uncomfortable spot, but he was short stacked, and with short stacks, I really don't think too much. I just get it in. Anyone with less than say like 50 big blinds, I'll just get it in. Yeah, he was willing to get in with the third nuts. He didn't even have the kings. So if I had the kings, what's he doing, right? So you gotta be very cautious when you play those second, third, fourth nut flush draws. Okay, you don't have the nuts. I mean, like someone's always gonna have something higher than you. You'll see that a lot. King 4 3 10 fold. Jack 6 9 ace fold. Yeah, I love playing pot in Omaha. Yeah, we're gonna open full pot on early position table number 1. Table number 2 is not too bad aside from the dangler. It's not too bad. Okay, we're gonna bet on table number 1. Such a dry flop. We're gonna definitely open up on table number 2. All the 4s are dangler. That 9 10 jack is really nice double suited. Ugh. Not a great flop. Let's try to bet out and take it down. I don't think it hit his range. He's a deep stacker. He's probably not peddling at these tables. And I got to leave again and get some drinks after this hand. Yeah, I think take this down. I really don't think it hits range. Yeah, it's just, I don't think he's got anything on this one. Maybe like ace, king, 7, jack. I don't know. Something like that. Good. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. 6 9 10 and 9 jacks. That's easy fold. That's a junky hand. Oh, table number 1. That's an interesting hand. Okay, 8 9 10. I'm gonna call anything. As long as it's not heavily multi-way, like maybe 3 players max, I'm going to call the 3 bets because we have a good chance to crack any aces. Oh, geez, no fold because he called. If that guy in the, what position was that? Was he in small blind? If he didn't call that bet, I would have called and saw the flop. But since he called, I think he had something, some decent rundown or maybe aces himself, and that's why I had to fold. We got an awesome, beautiful hand on table number 1. This is the type of hand that I'll get my money in all the time. Oh yeah, and we hit the flop so well. We're going to get it in on this flop against this measly short stack of $2 and whatever, 20 cents. I mean, what's the point of short stacking, eh? Especially in pot limit Omaha, you're going to lose big. Like there, short stackers. But you know what? I mean, I like short stackers. I mean, it's easy to take their money. They'll get it in with almost any kind of hands. And most of the time, I think my range just crushes theirs. And they usually get it in with like top pair or even middle pair with these short stackers. These are the guys who play less than 50 big blinds. You know, if you got a solid hand and you hit a decent draw, just get it in. I never think twice about playing against short stackers because what are they going to do? I mean, they just have pot-sized bet left. Check back on table number 2. We got junky hand, really junky hand. We got bottom pair. Table number 1. We're gonna check back. Jeez, yeah, we're gonna check back on table. Fold. Table number 2. That was junky hand. Was it 2 7 ace? What was it? 8. Junky hand on table number 1 also, but hopefully we could see the flop cheap. Yeah, it was jack. I'm gonna raise that from small, but remember if it's folded to, anytime when I have some kind of decent hand, like strong pairs or suited ace, I'm gonna bet. And I'm never checking back if I lead up from the small blind. If I open up from the small blind like that, and I only fold if he re-raises me, repots me on this flop. Most of the time we should be able to take it down. That's such a dry flop. Ace 6 4. Queen King 10 10. No, not bad hand. Nothing to the nuts. If I just get one better, I'll call, but definitely re-raise and fold it to like we did right there. Yeah, and I got this new touchpad for the MacBook. It's super smooth. I mean, sometimes I use a mouse. I like the click of the mouse, but this one is so smooth and no sound. Because when I used to use my the touchpad on my laptop, it used to make a thumping sound. So every time when I made a video, it sounded like someone was knocking on the door, or I was thumping my mic. But with this new touchpad, it's super quiet. We got another aces. Crappy fours. Remember those pair of fours? Don't do us any good. I mean, like, what are we going to hit bottom set? We're never getting our stacks in with our bottom set. So fours don't count, but nice flop, beautiful flop. And hopefully this short stacker just keeps calling. Yeah, so short stackers, don't worry about these guys. Just if you have a decent hand with a decent draw, just get it in. And wow, another awesome aces. We got to raise this, and we're in position. We're not playing this soft. Repot and try to get our money in there. Yeah, that's one of those few hands I'm going to get my money in. Hopefully someone 3-bets us. Please 3-bet us. Raise, repot us. Please. Come on, deep stacker. Yeah. And not a great flop for us. And I don't think it's a great flop for them. But let's see what it does. Gika 11 does. Oh, you check back. Yeah. Just don't have anything. Well, that's such a weak bet too, but I'm leaning towards a fold. Yeah, fold. If he bets out again, we're going to fold. Yeah. Oh, we got it. We're running good. Oh. He's going for a straight draw. Alright, table number 1, that's junky hands. Let's see, table number 2. It's really tough to type when you're playing these Zoom tables, eh? Junky kings, we're going to fold down table number 2. Remember, junky kings fold from early position, even middle position. It's just not worth it. Oh, he calls 3-bet with kings, eh? That's kind of weird. I mean, that's a mistake I used to make when I first played. I think when I was up to, 5 PLO, I always made a mistake of calling any 3-bets with king XX because I thought, oh, well, the guy's raising 3-betting with ace XX. Well, I'm going to crack him with my kings. Well, that's the wrong thought process at pot limit Omaha. What you should be thinking is try to call 3-bets with really strong, like single suited, double suited rundowns like Jack 10, 9, 8. So those are the hands that are going to hit the flop really well and crack those aces. We got top 2 pair. I'm not going to ease up here. I'm going to definitely bet pot on this flop. And if he bets, I may re-raise. Let's see. But if he re-raise me, I'm out, because the only thing that's going to re-raise me is what's up. And we take it down. Remember, table number 2, if small blind calls, it's a decent hand. I mean, we do have a dangler with a 2, but that's 10, 9, 8. But, you know, with button calling and also the small blind calling, we're folding. Table number 2, oh, we'll call that. We hit top, bottom 2 pair, we're going to lead out. Try to take this pot down, and he calls. Let's see what happens on, let's see how the river 8 reacts. Table number 1, that's junky hand, but remember, it's suited ace. I'm going to raise 3x, always from the small blind when I have suited ace, and we take that down. Wow. So we have an open ender and top bottom to round up at that. Yeah. Let's see what he does. I mean, only way he's going to fold me out is if he has to repop me there. If he calls, I'm going to barrel again on the river. We should take this hand down. And top bottom pair with open end street draws, decent equity there to bet there. Remember, you never want to bluff with nothing. You always want something to back it up with, so that you can now see the next street. You just don't bluff in Omaha just for the hell of it. You just got to bet with a decent hand. I don't like this hand. I mean, table number 2, I mean, we had a gap at the top. Even if a strong hand like that, I just don't like to play those. I always, like, someone's going to have a ace queen in there, and kick my ass with, kick my butt with not better straight. It has happened more than too many times to mention. I learned it the hard way. Remember, always go with your gut instinct. When you don't think you should call, just don't call. It's probably the right move. Pretty junky hands on both tables. I'm going to raise, fold it 2 on table number 1. I mean, I'd rather have like 8, 9, 10 suited to the ace, but no, it's not too bad, and we're in position. Not bad. Nice, looks semi-wet. I mean, it's not a bad. I'm definitely betting this flop for sure. Heads up in position. Table number 2, I'll just call the limp. I mean, it looks strong. I mean, we have suited ace and jacks. But it's not strong enough to re-raise. And stay right here. I mean, we're going to call that. And we got top set. Awesome. And such a dry flop, we're going to have to, if any of them bets, we're going to pot that and get it in. We have a backdoor flush draw. Yeah, we got to get in. Hopefully they call. We have them slaughtered. I mean, top set with a backdoor flush draw. It's just so good enough I could just get it in. Come on, John. 100, 500, call. Let's get it to 4 blinds before we end the session soon. Are we at 4 blinds right now? And one thing that I haven't mentioned, well, we got middle bit. No, that's easy fold on table number 2. Man, 10, 9, 8. We're gonna. So tempted to call this one. No, we're gonna fold this. Tempted to call though. It's short stacker. I think if that the early position didn't open, if it was that short stacker, I would have probably called and try to get heads up with him, even if you're out of position against a short stacker. Just get his money in because he's going to get it in. And that flops, and that kind of hand flops. I mean, hits the flops so well. Easy fold on table number 2. Remember, there's a dangler at the top. Do not open those at early position. Again, do not open those at early position. It will cost you so much chips in the long run. It's a huge leak that many people make. Just don't do that. Even if it looks awesome, so even if you have some like 8, 9, 10, queen, fold, okay? Okay, aces. I mean, I like it. I mean, the power of double suited ace is really powerful, but I really want the side cards connected, and I'm happy to take it down. I don't feel bad about not seeing the flop. I'm very happy to take that down pre-flop. 7, 8, 9. Another decent hand. I'll definitely call that in position. Let's call that. Not too bad. Well, that's such a weak bet, but we don't have a really nutty flush draw there. We'll just call. Oh yeah, we're gonna. It's a short stacker too. We'll call. And we hit the nuts. And we'll get his rest of his stack. So remember, don't be afraid of short stackers. Nothing to be afraid of. And after this hand, after you get his money, we're going to fold out and end this session for today. Let's get rest of that stack in. Get it in, Poker Swagger. Ah, he folds. That's so weird. Oh, gee, I just don't understand. Well, I thought I was folding out the hand. I guess not. Yeah, not bad hand. I mean, I'd fold. If it was folded to me, I'd open for sure. Oh, I forgot to click the set up next hand button. Oh, there we go. So that was decent. And let's open Poker Tracker. Let's see how we did. Oh, so we were up just under 3 buy-in. And look at this. See, we played about an hour and we played 434 hands. That's huge for 2 tables at Zoom. And if you look at how I played by position, that doesn't really help us. Let's see the stats. I still haven't figured out PokerStars 4, but let's check our VPIP stat. Oh, there. No, not that one. Let's do it by position. So 49 kind of looks, tight, but when you look at it, see, look, at early position, 9, big blind, small blind, nice and tight. And cutoff and button, kind of tight, but usually, I'm usually at 40-50% at the button. So a lot more tighter than I usually play. But not too bad, remember? Tight is right at these lower stakes, Playing solid, say like 20 VPIP to 10 PFR will get you everywhere. Alright, so thanks, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Probably not till November, but if you do have any questions, feel free to post any questions up, or if you have any questions about just pot limit Omaha, I love talking about pot limit Omaha. I might not be able to respond as fast as I usually do for October and November, but I'll check every day, once a day, not 10-20 times a day that I usually do. I'll check once a day or maybe once every 2 days and see if anyone has any questions. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video. And this is Uboat for Grinder School. I'll see you guys next time.